Hello, everyone. This is our Hawaiian Volcano summary for February 20th, 2025. The last week was fairly quiet as Kilauea built up to its 10th episode of its summit eruption, which began last night, lasted 13 hours, and ended this morning. The fountains once again were quite high, reaching close to the top of the upper rim, 300 to 400 feet or 125 meters high. And the flows that resulted from that have covered about 3/4 of the crater floor. And so here, this view you're seeing is the live camera, the V1, looped over those 13 hours of eruption. And here we have the S2 camera showing that north vent reactivating, the south vent glowing persistently throughout the eruption, but not erupting itself in this latest episode. Here's a wider view of the entire crater floor, where you can see the flows snaking their way across and covering that 3/4 area of the inner crater of Halemaʻumaʻu. And a similar view on a thermal shows an outburst coming from the right with a taller fountains, feeding a series of flows that, once the fountains shut off, begin to overturn and leak lava, still at this moment. Now, this is all located within Kilauea caldera. This February 7th map, during a pause, shows the location of the vents here in the southwest corner. And so it's within this pit the lava is flowing, and thus it's not threatening any infrastructure since it sits within this depression at the summit. Here is the ground tilt for the past month on Kilauea. The blue line at the summit, the green line on the rift zone. The rift zone has been deflating, not feeling much of the summit activity, but the summit has been inflating and charging up, and each episode has relieved pressure, causing it to deflate. And so you see this pattern of episode 5, episode 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So here's the last week of fairly quiet on the volcano, and our episode 10 that deflated the volcano and has since begun recharging the volcano here. So this rate over the first 6 hours of pause was about 1 microradian. And you can see that overall, the magnitude of our drop was not as large as the most recent episodes. So while it's too soon to put a forecast on exactly when the next episode might occur, you would suspect it could be sooner than later, given the short drop here and pattern with the previous episodes as well. And along those lines, we can look at the chart of episodes here, and we can actually divide them. All the ones that are 15 hours or under have been followed by a pause that is no longer than 2 days. Here's a couple more. While all the ones that are 16 hours or over have been followed by at least 4 days of pause before the next eruption episode comes on. So that's not binding, of course, but that would lead you to believe that on a shorter end of the time frame would be the next episode onset. The short episode has helped produce less fog, as it's putting out that high output of gas for less time. However, that's still blowing across the island, this time with a typical trade wind pattern blowing to the southwest across the Ka'u Desert, and then getting caught in this gyre that affects the Kona coast of Hawaii Island here. For the most part, everything is blowing offshore with this pattern, which has kept the Hilo side fairly in the clear, unlike some earlier episodes. Here you can see the purple air monitors showing current conditions with impacts, especially from Kīlauea, Kona town and south at present moment. Moving to Mauna Loa, it's been fairly quiet earthquake-wise at the summit. Here's these very few 18 events. This falls within this long-term pattern of low earthquakes each month ever since the 2022 eruption. So here we are in that pattern, still recharging the volcano. And you can see that through this vertical GPS station component at the summit of Mauna Loa. So it's been going up, sometimes a little slower, sometimes a little faster, with some noise in there, but overall it has been rising. If anything, we can zoom into this right-hand part of the graph here where we can see from perhaps the start of February or later in January, we maybe have a slight increase in the rate of uplift coming up here. But as we just showed you with the earthquakes, this is happening without much seismicity. So for now, this is a sign of the pulse of the volcano that is filling and continuing to swell within, but not enough to cause stresses and earthquakes. Here are the earthquakes for the whole last month. You can see they're still not accumulating in any great number or in any location. And perhaps if we look at the earthquake depths over the past year at Mauna Loa, we can see that occasionally we have these deeper earthquakes that potentially may be connected to magma injection into the volcano above and causing this long-term filling and extension. So we had some of those that appear within the last month here. Perhaps there's something similar going on. In any case, it's nothing, no cause for alarm and nothing that looks to escalate anytime soon. And that's our Hawaiian Volcano summary for this week.